Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Warcraft video. Today, we've got to talk about Bwonsamdi. He's one of the most refreshing characters in BFA. Like, he's fun to be around, he's cracking jokes, he's a bit of a huckster, he's annoying as hell for the characters who he's dealing with, but he's pretty damn fun for us to watch, and he's going to be playing a major role in the lore of World of Warcraft. I'm really sure of it. More major than I would have thought previously, because Blizzard have only just pulled the rug out from underneath us. They've revealed that Bwonsamdi is not a solo operator. Most players don't actually know this, but it calls much into question, and it lines up fantastically with the currently established plot points about death in the Warcraft universe. Before we get into that, if you'd like to learn more about Bwonsamdi, vol'jin, and the Loa in a narrative context, then today's sponsor, Audible, is the place to go. They've got the world's largest library of audiobooks, and you can get one for free for life by signing up with my link. Their app is also dead handy to use, and it's the perfect service for just getting to enjoy books, even if you're not able to set aside dedicated reading time. Now, vol'jin, Shadows of the Horde, is on Audible, and it goes deep into the character of vol'jin at the time leading up to the Darkspear Rebellion. It even has him interacting with Bwonsamdi, so it's really good lore for this video. So you can get that for free with a 30-day trial by hitting up the link in the description. A big thank you to Audible for sponsoring, and let's get right into the video. So who is Bwonsamdi? Well, he is the troll Loa of death. Now, Loa is a pretty loose word that is used to describe really anything that the trolls are worshipping. It includes, say, the wild gods and even wisps. Now, his origins are unknown, but he claims to have been around since before the trolls came to be, and that makes him extremely old, maybe even similarly old to, say, some of the original wild gods who are like uplifted by Freya, but it's kind of hard to know. Now, Bwonsamdi watches over the spirits of the dead, mainly trolls, but not always trolls, as seen in the many instances where he's involved with the spirits of non-trolls, like vol'jin's friend Tirathin Court, who is a human. Now, this suggests to me that he could be more fundamental than we may think, and he doesn't just seem to gobble up souls and use them as batteries or anything. No, he genuinely seems to watch over souls and take them in his care, but of course, he gains more power the more souls that are under his care. Now, as is often the case with pantheon gods, he's actually a character. He's flawed. Like in this case, he's a bit of a trickster, he's a wheeler-dealer, he's driving a hard bargain. Sure, he'll help you out, but ultimately, he's trying to come out ahead in terms of the number of souls that are under his care. Now, normally the souls of the dead in the Warcraft universe go to the Shadowlands, but if you fall under Bwonsamdi's care, then he takes you in sort of to his realm instead of the Shadowlands. Now, previously his main motivation just seemed to be to get more souls. To do this, he would have people pledge themselves to him and worship him, say the case of vol'jin, who bound himself to Bwonsamdi. Such that the souls of those who vol'jin vanquished would go to Bwonsamdi. Now, with the souls, like, he does seem a bit greedy. He's often lamenting how people aren't worshipping him enough, and indeed, if you go to Zandalar, you'll see that really the other Loa are getting a lot more attention than he does, with really only the Darkspear holding him in super high regard. But that's what's up with the establishment of Bwonsamdi. Let's talk about recent events. So we see a lot more of him in BFA. We get his help against the Blood Trolls in Nazmir, however, at a price. He allows us to commune with the Spirit of Torga, again, at a price. He's helpful, but really always in a way that gets him more souls. Now, by the time we've finished with the 3 zones, things are going terribly for the Zandalari. Razan is dead, meaning that Rastakhan has lost a lot of his power. Rastakhan asks Bwonsamdi to grant him the power needed to defend his empire. Bwonsamdi kind of disagrees. He wants a better deal, so what he wants is Rastakhan's bloodline to be in his service. That includes his daughter, Talanji. What does this mean? Well, Rastakhan is probably not long for the world. It is stated that Razan was keeping him alive unnaturally long, so Bwonsamdi is going to be getting a pretty powerful spirit with Rastakhan, and now this whole thing might involve a ritual of binding, such that the souls vanquished by Rastakhan's lineage would go to Bwonsamdi. Then Bwonsamdi, if he was, say, the patron Loa of the Zandalari leadership, again, that would be major for him, getting him more worship, probably way more souls, which would make him more powerful. So the Zandalari technically would be serving death. Sylvanas is also stated to be serving death, and I find that to be mighty interesting, with Talanji being a bit of a wildcard in this because she is a priest in terms of, like, character class. Now, troll priests are a thing, just that they frame their light as kind of being through the Loa. I'm not sure exactly what Loa it's through, but that seems to be the explanation. Now, Rastakhan imposing this on his daughter, yeah, that's sure to lead to problems down the line, and overall, it just sounds like this whole thing is a setup for, yep, a short-term fix is going to have big, long-term consequences. So, let's cover the big turn. This is really the most important part of the video. There's a quest at endgame about vol'jin's ashes, and it eventually has us taking his urn to Bwonsamdi. And this is where things get a little bit crazy, and you know what? Just listen in.
Where be vol'jin? No! No! Impossible! The boss ain't gonna like this.
Yeah, so this is really big. Bwonsamdi has a boss. And clearly it's a boss that he is mightily afraid of wronging. Every time that we interact with Bwonsamdi, he's cocky, he is implicitly in a position of power. Well, here we see the troll god of death being scared. Very scared, it would seem. Now, this calls a lot into question, mainly his motivations. Who is his boss? Why is he doing things? And, is there a greater force of death? There's just so much to get into here, so let's talk about the question of who is his boss. This is the ultimate question, and we don't really know, but we can guess, even though it is a bit of a shot in the dark. Now, many think that Helya is his boss, and this kind of does make sense when you think about it. First, Helya is alive and well, as seen in the Island Expedition quest, where we find out that she is in fact not defeated and is only growing in power. Well, that's pretty darn major. Now, that refers to her as the god of death, and if you're to take that literally, then it would, mean she's a god of death. However, when we take perspective of characters into account, I think that comes with a grain of salt, because Helya is the god of death, but to the Vrykul, so that is how they would speak of her, much like how Bwonsamdi is the Loa of death, but really only to the trolls. Now, if Helya was Bwonsamdi's boss, then a few things kind of make sense. vol'jin said that the spirits had spoken, and that Sylvanas would be war chief. Many wouldn't understand, but, we all trusted vol'jin. Now, his patron Loa was Bwonsamdi, so it seems likely that maybe Bwonsamdi was the spirit that was speaking. What did Sylvanas go on to do? Well, she then went on to make a pact with Helya. Now, given Helya's position and the right of Valkyr and all that, it would be easy for her to predict what Sylvanas would do. Now, we don't know what Sylvanas' bargain with Helya was, but importantly, we do know that Blizzard decided to clearly show that Sylvanas had made a bargain with Helya to both factions, and now they've just told us that Helya is pretty much back and even stronger than ever. But here's the thing, though. I don't think that Helya is Bwonsamdi's boss. First, they seem to be a similar-ish age. I mean, right, Helya was a Titan Watcher, and Bwonsamdi seems to be just of mysterious but ancient origins. Now, when you look at what they do is quite similar because, as I said, normally spirits of the dead go to the Shadowlands. Well, Helya takes Vrykul's souls and prevents them from going to the Shadowlands. She instead takes them to Helheim. Bwonsamdi takes dead troll souls, and instead of taking them to the Shadowlands, he takes them to his realm. Now, I kind of want to tie this into something else, and if you look at the Cosmic Forces chart, what you see is that almost every force has a major power or a leader that physically embodies it. Now, Blizzard are always looking for more villains, so it stands to reason that the personification of death might be able to play a role in the future. Right, here's how Chronicle describes life and death. The forces of life and death hold sway over every living thing in the physical universe. The energies of life, known commonly as nature magic, promote growth and renewal in all things. Death, in the form of necromantic magic, acts as a counterbalance to life. It is an unavoidable force that breeds despair in mortal hearts and pushes everything toward a state of entropic decay and eventual oblivion. And the key part of this is pushes everything towards a state of entropic decay and eventual oblivion. Now remember that light and void, when they come together, it's a force of creation, like the Big Bang. Now this puts death as being the opposite of what happens when light and void collide. Perhaps the only thing that can kind of undo them. Now remember that the Void seems to regard death as the enemy. This is also why I don't think that Bwonsamdi serves Yogg-Saron, because Yogg is ultimately Void aligned and clearly as opposed to the undead. Now them serving the Lich King would certainly be a twist, especially if they were to do something spooky with the fate of Ner'zhul, but that's getting into kind of rampant speculation. Now all of this has had me thinking, death usually equals going to the Shadowlands. That seems to be the base fundamental way that, or just thing that happens when a mortal being dies. Well, Helya and Bwonsamdi, in a sense, both save beings from that fate of going to the Shadowlands and instead take them under their care. Does this mean that there could be some sort of conflict within death itself? That the likes of Bwonsamdi and Helya are using their power against the natural order of things? That they fill some sort of currently unknown broader role in the universe? What we do know is that basically a mystery box with death has been expanded here. Now, we have the light creating undead, we have Bolvar making moves again, we have Sylvanas being said to serve death, Helya has just been confirmed to be an active character who is getting stronger, the Zandalari have just pledged themselves essentially to a god of death, vol'jin's urn is gone and his spirit can't be contacted by Bwonsamdi, and then Bwonsamdi now supposedly has a boss that he is really scared of letting down. That's all really deep stuff, and I just want to play this line for you.
Old Bwonsamdi not been losing a spirit and... Oh, this be bad.
So that kind of implies, right, that Bwonsamdi's messed up before, and the reason why he is scared now is probably because of the repercussions that he faced long ago for that first time that he lost a soul. So it could be a grand plan, or Bwonsamdi could have made a bad deal. That would be kind of in character for him. He's a wheeler-dealer type of guy, right, rather than a tremendous god of death. So it could be that sometime in the past he struck up a deal. Maybe it's a little bit like Nicolas Cage having to accept every movie in the universe because he's got to fight his bill to the IRS. So he's just got himself in a bind. Hard to know with Bwonsamdi, but something is going on there. They're expanding the mystery box of death, and I think this is a big evolving plot point that goes alongside what they're doing with Light and Void. Now, the final thing I do want to mention is Bwonsamdi does kind of say that he thinks the regular undead are an abomination, but that's odd because he says that in reference to the Cahoon created undead. He also later sort of creates some undead-like things himself, and he also works with the Forsaken and has San Lane defending his necropolis. So it's pretty hard to know exactly what's going on with that. So I'm kind of leaving that one up in the air for now. Core point of this video though, Bwonsamdi has a boss, and that's probably an extremely important figure that is aligned with death. So make of that what you will. And really, that's it for the video. So a big thank you to you for watching, and a big thank you to Audible for sponsoring this video. If you want to check out an audiobook on Audible that is really tied into the content of this video, then vol'jin, Shadows of the Horde, talks about vol'jin. Vol'jin, Bwonsamdi, and Tirathan are all involved in it as well, so you'll see a little bit more firsthand of that, and you can get that for free with my 30-day trial. The link is down below in the description. So consider checking that out if you want to support the channel and get a great audiobook. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you next time.